How's it going on YouTube? The Dark Fury here once again. And I'm here with just my friend up at the top. It's Eric. We were going to try and do this with a big group, but everyone had other plans, so we're just going to jump right into this because this is something that needs to be talked about. The worst and the best of the DCEU. In correctness, it's all of the DC films outside of what we've seen with Dark Knight Trilogy and all the others. So, Eric, do you have any first parting words before we start this?
First off, release the Snyder Cut. Number two, much like the much maligned Star Wars prequel trilogy, I agree. This is definitely something that needs to be talked about because honestly, the hate bandwagon can get a little repetitive and dull eventually, and so I figured it's about time that we actually do address say the best and the worst of the DCU because I mean, come on, even a controversial series has got to have some good in it.
Oh yeah, and as we know, DC did start off a little weak, jumping into the fray with trying to compete with Marvel, but in recent years, they seem to have gotten their act together a little bit. They're starting to understand what they want the fans want. So, to kick things off, let's go ahead and dive right into what we think is the worst and the best of the DCEU. So to start things off, we actually have a unanimous decision on what was the worst DCEU film. Do you want to say it or should I?
God. I can't say it.
Josh Whedon's cut of Justice League. By far the worst.
Oh my
the
God.
Absolute worst DCEU film. My God.
Jesus Christ.
This movie.
It's not even a movie.
It's a Frankenstein of a movie. It's ridiculous how much Whedon threw out of what Snyder wanted to do. And just You made
oh my God.
Batman, you made Batman.
You know what the apt metaphor for this should be? Okay. Well, if you also think about it too with Batman, specifically, he kind of tends to go in phases a lot. With the Tim Burton movies, he's really dark. And then the Schumacher movies, God rest his soul, he's really cartoony and campy. Then you get to the Dark Knight trilogy and Batman versus Superman, he's uber violent and edgy. Then Justice League, goofy.
Literally,
God damn it!
I mean, you remember the trailer, right? The very first trailer when Snyder released, and Batman is there in his iron suit of the in the sewer. It was my turn. But then we actually saw the film. It was sorry guys,
sorry,
I didn't bring a sword.
What? Dude, that's because also if you notice too, it's heavily obvious you can tell that which scenes were Joss Whedon's and Snyder's scenes. Because if you notice in some of the reshot Ben Affleck scenes, Batman and Bruce Wayne looks a lot fatter in person. I mean, this is why Ben Affleck went into alcoholism and then quit the Batman role. Because of this fucker.
Well, honestly, though, Affleck he still is an alcoholic even before he did Batman. But
yeah, but
I gave him the benefit of the doubt because I wanted to see him do good in a team up. This is the first time we actually see all the DC heroes team up ever on screen. But what they gave us was something that you would see on television.
It's one thing to see it in a comic book, it's one thing to see this in a comic book, but it's another when you're adapting it into a movie and then you have to focus on making it a movie first. I mean, especially with all the teases with the Snyder cut from Zack Snyder on Vero, and then you hear all the original details he had of the movie, it's like, this is way better.
It sounds so much better, and I promise you guys, when the Snyder cut of Justice League comes out, we are gonna have a watch party and we'll do a live reaction to you guys. I promise you. Agreed?
Oh yes, agreed. Oh, and for those I'm not sure people know this. Couple things I want to add into about revolving Justice League. One, kudos to Ray Fisher for coming clean after his NDA expired. I mean, now that I think about it, with Flash falling on top of Wonder Woman's boobs, where have I seen that before in another comic book movie? You want to give the honor in this one, Brandon?
Play the clip.
Sorry. Don't turn green.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
actually happened.
Bruce Banner fell on top of Scarlett Johansson's boobs. Which kind of begs the question, how do the Marvel cast feel about this now that they're and it's revealed too that a stunt double for Gal Gadot did some of the reshot scenes, not Gal Gadot.
Okay. Good, because I'm pretty sure she literally
Dealing with the CGI mustache. We were also dealing with facial edits. Oh God! No wonder the production budget ballooned to $300 million.
I cannot believe that I buried that scene deep into my subconscious, because that CGI was horrible. Why? If you guys would have just taken the time, Henry Cavill would have been done with his shots on Mission Impossible. He could have gotten rid of that, or hell, leave it on, let him grow out a beard. We could have had bearded Superman.
Black suited Superman. But also too, honestly, even then, another film critic said this too. Honestly, Warner Brothers should have just moved the movie forward to 2018. I mean, Zack Snyder went through a family tragedy.
He did. My condolences to him for his loss.
Oh, and that's another screwed up thing. In the opening and ending credits, no one said "in memory of Autumn Snyder."
Oh yeah,
no one. That's how much you knew Warner Brothers just wanted to get Snyder out of the picture. Ugh. And number two, and my second point that I wanted to bring up for Justice League, the final point on this, just to save you guys time and money, it's basically Avengers 1 and 2 combined.
Literally. You have a team up, and you're fighting against this CGI villain, yet he's not even a villain. He's barely in the movie.
He could honestly be
an absolute horrible villain.
He's honestly Steppenwolf in the Whedon cut of Justice League felt more like Ebony Maw's secretary. Hell, Ebony Maw could have a secretary, and Steppenwolf would be the secretary of that secretary.
Yeah. So, rating wise, you guys know this. It is so bad.
If I could give it a negative fucktillion out of 10, I would.
Same. So to make things easy for this one, we're doing out of 10. For me, 1. It is a 1 out of 10 movie.
Can I give a negative fucktillion?
If you want to, I'm sure nobody would mind.
0. It's worse than Batman and Robin. It's worse than Batman Forever. It's worse than even fucking Howard the Duck.
Don't remind me of that. Anyways, guys, moving on. This is actually, we might diverge in this one, but the one above Justice League, I am actually giving it to Birds of Prey. Because at least in Birds of Prey, there were 2 scenes that I actually still enjoyed. The prison scene with Harley Quinn when the choreography was done by the guy who did the John Wick movies, and also just Ewan McGregor's performance. Even though he was barely Black Mask, he barely had the mask on for like more than like 5 seconds. But yeah, this was my biggest issue with it is just, what did they do to the characters? They're not even in their costumes. Their backstories are totally different. This is literally DC trying to push the female message again. And that's why it did so bad at the box office, because nobody cares. Nobody cares about your stupid female agenda. I'm sorry.
Sonic the Hedgehog. Yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog beat Birds of Prey. And I would agree, Birds of Prey is also my number 7. Like, but one thing I will give it over Justice League, it was more consistent.
Yes.
And you didn't have. Oh, wait, actually, hold on. I feel like I kind of switched it for a second. Actually, my number 7 would have to be actually, you know what? Forget it. It's kind of number 6 and 7 are interchangeable at this point. But yeah, number 7 would have to be Birds of Prey. But yeah, the whole female message, it's too way over the top. I saw this one video that pretty much compared Harley Quinn's chances of luck as basically that of a dumbed down version of Jack Sparrow.
Pretty much.
And why are they trying to rip off Deadpool?
Because Deadpool did so good, why can't we do it too?
But then again, it's not really surprising when you have a director and a writer that's well female. But honestly, it could have been a lot worse.
It could have been a lot worse, but
Captain Marvel. But yeah, it's okay.
But still, like we and DC has done this. They know how to do a good female lead superhero film. They know how to do it. So what happened? It's like they took a full-on step backwards. So yeah.
Oh yeah, fair point.
So yeah, Birds of Prey. Oh man, I give it a 3 out of 10. 4 out of 10.
4, mostly because of the guy playing. Mostly because of the guys playing Mr. Zaz. By the way, if you recognize the actor, Brandon, he was from The Devil, who played the detective.
Yeah, I remember.
And of course, Hugh McGregor as Roman Sionis / Black Mask. I didn't care that he didn't have the mask on, honestly, but I feel there was a lot of depth to his character that was just missing that could be explored in a Batman movie.
Yeah, so like the 3 points that got to me why I give it 3 out of 10 was Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. Of course, I love seeing her as Harley Quinn. She knows how to play the character. 2 was of Ewan McGregor's performance, and 3 was because of the 2 fight scenes that were actually well choreographed. Alrighty, so now going off to number 6. And you guys probably know because of the shirt I'm wearing, it is Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice.
Oh, no. Damn.
I'm sorry, dude. That movie still pisses me off. It's
Okay, so now that we got to the
though, I would watch that over Justice League and Birds of Prey. I would rather watch that over those 2.
So evidently, given that our lists have essentially diverged now, explain to me why this is number 6 on your list. And are we talking the theatrical cut or the Ultimate Edition?
The theatrical cut.
Okay.
The reason why is because this is like DC's very first attempt to start a cinematic universe, even though they already tried that with Man of Steel, and that was a much better decision to do. The story just felt too jumbled around. It's a lot of the choices they made with it was just like you better keep up or you're gonna miss what's happening. The casting was hit and miss with a lot of it. Of course, Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck did a good job with what they had, but Jesse Eisenberg is not my Lex Luthor. Even if you call him Lex Luthor Jr., it still doesn't excuse the fact that he is basically there as Lex Luthor. And of course, just the motives. A lot of the motives of the film just do not work. We barely get an idea about why Superman is fighting Batman. We get like a basic minimum of why Batman is fighting Superman. And of course, yes, the film does look great. It's acted nice. The fight scenes are good, especially the warehouse scene with Batman is like ripped straight out of the Arkham games. But it's hard. It was hard for me. Like when we saw it, and when we saw it together when the movie first came out in its opening week, we had fun. We thought it was a good, enjoyable ride. But when I saw it the second time, I started seeing the cracks in the formula on how like very, very like breakneck speed a lot of the plot was moving, but also just the planning behind Lex Luthor and why he hates Superman, and yet the guy has like contracts for a lot of reconstruction in Metropolis, and yet he'd be even more rich because of Superman. So why does he hate him? And just and for me being a Christian, just pushing the message is not a good idea. It's basically just shoving religion in people's faces, and it's never a good idea to do that. So yes, when I first thought about this film, and this was way back when I started hating it, I did give it a 3 out of 10. But now that I've matured and I've thought more about it and what made those decisions, it's an average film. I give it a 5 out of 10. But if you watch the Ultimate Edition, that's actually a 6, or it could be a 7 out of 10. So that was my number 6, was Batman vs Superman. What was yours?
Number 6, Suicide Squad.
Really?
Yeah. Now, okay, and I will say this for sheer morbid curiosity, and also given that I kind of just really want to stick it to Warner Brothers for all their studio interference. Please release the Ayer cut, AT&T. Even David Ayer is pushing for it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of surprising, me saying that, because I usually don't support Dave Ayer in his movies, but that's beside the point. The cut that we got for Suicide Squad, I thought it was fucking terrible. The only good scene I liked about it was the fucking mid-credit scene with Amanda Waller and Bruce Wayne. Like
how he just dropped the tease for Justice League.
Yeah. And what else? What else is terrible about it? They just told us every character origin. It's like, oh, okay, but why can't we see it?
I mean, we barely see half of the ones.
I did like, oh yeah, I mean, don't even get me started about Slipknot, man. No introduction, just he's dead. his head fucking drops. And while Snyder's imagery is, yes, arguably dark, similar to Dave Ayer's is, there's just nothing about Dave Ayer's imagery that makes it like artistic.
No, and like half the time you can't even see it.
Yeah, I know. I did like Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn. I did like Will Smith as Deadshot. That's the one time Will Smith playing Will Smith actually works.
Sure.
I liked Viola Davis as Amanda Waller. I don't know. There's just not much good to say about this movie. I'm sorry.
And hey, don't forget about Jared Leto's Joker.
He's okay. He's okay. If I see the Ayer cut that we got, it like the 10 additional minutes, he's not that bad. He's not as bad as people give him shit for.
No. I mean, for what he was given, he did the best he could.
No, actually, for what he was given, it was genius. But a lot of his Joker got cut.
Right. Yeah,
that's why Jared Leto was upset when Joaquin Phoenix got all the recognition in 2019.
Although I still hate to say it, I still enjoy Joaquin Phoenix because he went full on method actor, so that's why I liked it so much.
Yeah, and if I have to say too, I would say release the Ayer cut, mostly because I really want to stick it to Warner Brothers, and I do want to see how it really panned out. But then when you get some of the original ideas, like how Enchantress was possessed by the mother boxes and was going to summon Steppenwolf onto Earth, then I'm like thinking, okay, that where it gets a little bit too far. Because I don't know how it makes sense in the grand scheme of things.
Like, okay, maybe don't do that.
So, if I had to give Suicide Squad overall the theatrical cut or the Ayer cut, 4 out of 10.
Really?
Oh.
All right.
Because, like, I didn't mind what they were going for, and yes, it was supposed to be the more gritty, realistic side of DC. You know, far more gritty and realistic as you can be when you're not considering gods and mythology. So that's my number 6, Suicide Squad. Also, release the Ayer cut.
And that's actually due where our lists start to diverge a little bit, because my number 5, and when we're moving into the best, is Suicide Squad. Just because, like, Suicide Squad, it is an average movie. It really is. You guys probably remember our review that we have. I'll leave it to the link in the description. It was one of my very first videos we've done. But it was over-advertised. It was, a lot of the shots were too dark to see, and a lot of the choices they made to the characters didn't make a lick of sense. Like, Killer Croc, for example, what they did to him was unforgivable. Slipknot was unforgivable. And just the memes behind Enchantress is just so hilarious. But yes, as Eric pointed out, Jared Leto, he's not that bad. I mean, yes, I would love to see more of Joker, but it still felt they were trying to force him in there a little bit. I mean, Margot Robbie's still, like I said in Birds of Prey, she's still a great Harley Quinn. And yes, Will Smith is just being Will Smith, but I still think he's trying too hard. And I'm interested to see how Idris Elba will take on the role in Suicide Squad 2 with James Gunn at the helm, so hopefully that'll also help it out. But I don't know, with how, even though it did so well in the box office, it still divided a lot of people. So for me, I also have to say Suicide Squad is a 4 out of 10. I will agree with the rating. It is a 4 out of 10 movie. But now we're starting to get into the good old, like, top good and best films of DC. Are you ready?
All right, let's do this.
So my number 4 is Shazam.
Wait, we didn't even go to number 5.
Oh, we didn't do your number 5, right? Right, you're number
Man,
5.
You almost forgot there. Oh God.
Let's go.
Okay.
Do number 5.
Okay, number 5. I would have to say Aquaman.
Aquaman, huh?
Now, no, don't get me wrong here. That's not to say it's like at the bottom, like near the bottom of the list or a bad movie. It really isn't. In fact, every single time there was a trailer that came out for Aquaman, I was fucking excited. I wanted to see Arthur Curry be the Aquaman, be the King of Atlantis. I mean, fucking hell. You get Atlantis that's almost like a mix of Oto Gunga from Phantom Menace, LA from Blade Runner, or Pandora from Avatar. Like, holy shit. And James Wan, like, holy shit, James Wan, our Lord and Savior of
the guy of the director of Saw.
Yeah, he had a career similar to Sam Raimi. Actually, they do a horror movie short, and then they do like a whole series of horror movies. They do an action movie that's like outside of their comfort zone. Then they do their first superhero movie.
Mm-hmm.
But the only difference is, once again, studio interference. And 2, why did you have the screenwriter as Will Beall? He's the guy who wrote Gangster Squad. So the screenwriting was a little schmaltzy, and because of that, the rest of the movie kind of got schmaltzy too. But without James Wan's directing, it would not have saved the movie. And you've also got an amazing cast too. Yes. Jason Momoa.
Dare you say it?
Amber Heard. Okay, and then you've also got Nicole Kidman, Tamira Morrison, Patrick Wilson, the guy who plays Black Manta.
Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe. I mean, what's up with Willem Dafoe playing these aquatic themed mentors? Gil. You've also got the guy who plays Dolph Lundgren.
Yes.
Holy hell, man! You've got like a whole cornucopia of a cast right there. That's amazing, except for Amber Heard. Honestly, Warner Brothers, get her off of Aquaman 2.
Seriously, listen to our petition. Listen to the petition of having Emilia Clarke play Mira instead.
Actually, I wouldn't even have Emilia Clarke. I would have Teresa Palmer. She knows how to play the.
If she does get casted, I won't mind. But I actually would love to see Emilia Clarke take on a superhero role instead of just being a sci-fi and fantasy actress.
But that's what Aquaman is: science fiction fantasy.
Yeah, but still, it's still superhero movie. So it's still like that's the main genre.
But what was it? But also too, and I was gonna say this. Here's another reason for Teresa Palmer. Notice how with our DC casting for the most part, especially the women, most of them are pretty much fashion icons. Teresa Palmer
you're actually right on the money.
Teresa Palmer fits that category already. And secondly, imagine if she and Nicole Kidman, and imagine if Teresa Palmer and Nicole Kidman had some like behind the scenes offset interactions. Aussies for the win. But to get right back into Aquaman, the story's pretty straightforward. It was pretty amazing to say the least. Though I kind of did have my own interpretation of how Aquaman would play out because I fucking love the character. I mean, before in recent memory, he's my favorite superhero. I got the whole Jeff Johns run from the New 52, all 4 volumes. But yeah, Aquaman is a definite must-watch for the DC fans.
How'd you give an overall score for it?
7.5.
Fair. Alrighty, so now we're back on track. We're at number 4. I was actually about to move this. Actually, I was about to reorganize my number 4 and 3, but I'm just sticking with what it is. Number 4 to me is still Shazam. Just because, like, I first of all, I didn't even know if I was going to watch it because I'm not a huge fan of just having a little kid be your main protagonist as a superhero because I'm not a big fan of child leads because they sound like they're the smartest person in the room and yet they're not, and they annoy me to hell. But when I saw the clip at WonderCon the year it was coming out, I was actually intrigued. Zachary Levi does a great job as the adult version of Billy Batson. And, of course, Mark Strong plays a great villain. He does villains all the time, and he's a great actor.
Also, that's not the only movie where the actor who plays Freddy or Eddie from It has to have an adult version of himself.
It's true. But, yeah, still, I mean, the story was it kind of wavered a little bit. I couldn't really tell where the plot was going and what it wanted to do, and it didn't really fit at all with and the director even said we weren't tasked to put it in the DCE. We were just told to make a Shazam movie and just have it fit as best you can, and that's what they did. But of course, it did get me laughing out loud when they got the cutoff of Henry Cavill's Superman as a cameo.
Oh, man, back when we all thought he quit the role.
But thank God he's back.
Yes!
And also, fuck you, Supergirl. You're getting canceled because of it. And fuck you, Batwoman.
I heard Amber Heard might be Batwoman next.
Oh, then, like, mega middle fingers to you.
Oh, God. But anyways,
Shazam is definitely a must-watch as well. Anyone who loves a good comedy with the superhero film, I definitely recommend it. Shazam to me is a 7 out of 10 movie. That's where I stand. So Eric, what would you have at number 4?
Surprisingly, it was Shazam too.
Really?
Now, don't get me wrong. Shazam is a really good movie. I'm not going to lie. On its own, it ranks up there with the Raimi trilogy. But within the context of the overall DCEU, it's the most campiest of the, well, actually, hold on. No. We said Justice League was the campiest because
Yes.
Whedon fucked that up. But no, it's a pretty campy DC movie with the DCEU movie when you have a whole premise established that you have mythology and fundamental philosophical concepts turned into reality. It felt a little campy at times, and then like some of the humor, well, okay, the writing was pretty solid. The direction was pretty solid. I liked the horror elements of it. I mean, David Sandberg, man. Holy shit. He added some pretty gnarly shit in there.
I have to admit that the designs for the demons were very, very, very close and spot on to what they originally were going to do.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like the 7 deadly sins. Like you got envy. He's like the smallest demon, and then you have gluttony. He's the largest titty flapping tubster version of the demons. And Mark Strong, yes, nails it as Dr. Savannah. He is a perfect dark mirror to Billy Batson. Think about it. Okay, so Billy. Oh, sorry about that. My internet cut off.
You're good.
So originally, I didn't like Dr. Savannah upon the first few viewings because I didn't know what his motivation was. But then the fact that I was talking about he's a dark mirror to Billy Batson, it's like I appreciate him more. So I think my favorite line of the movie has to be when he throws his brother out the window. He's like, "Outlook not so good." Oh God. But yeah, but Shazam was a pretty solid movie, but the camp factor kind of didn't really stick with me. Hell, even I was skeptical when the teaser came out.
Yeah.
Especially with Zachary Levi, who tends to play these overly goofy characters.
But he still played it with charm. He gave the character a little bit of charm. I think that was very good for him. I mean, of course, it was kind of funny seeing him like kind of make fun of Superman with the arms, like Superman. So, what arm is it?
Oh yeah, that's another thing too. It does kind of fall under its humor. Does at times fall under stupid Marvel humor.
Yeah, it does. Unfortunately,
I'm starting to think it should be lower than Aquaman, actually. But okay, well, I'm gonna leave it as it is. Okay, but Shazam, Wonder Woman, and Aquaman are pretty interchangeable for the most part. 7.5.
7.5 again.
Yep.
Alrighty. So that was both of our number 4s, and now we're going up to number 3. We're getting to the best of the best, guys. So stay with us.
And keep in mind too, these lists are not permanent. Opinions do change, especially with further analysis.
Of course, and of course with also future films coming out. So number 3 for me is Aquaman.
Oh, I was actually surprised you put him up top.
I know, because it's Jason Momoa. I love watching him as play the character. He just looks like he's having so much fun. Like even in interviews, he says he puts a little bit of himself in the character, and of course just the cinematography, the way the shots are done underwater were just so fluid and so nice. Like you even tell that the hair is moving, and like moving how it would be underwater. I mean, of course, there were a little bit of like audio issues, and of course the last battle scene was a little bit over the top, and like I don't know what they were doing a little bit, but either way, the casting was good. The director did a great job. Black Manta's design and voice were amazing. Cannot wait to see him in Aquaman 2. And yes, get Amber Heard the fuck out of there.
Honestly, I don't even know how that gold digger got the role in the first place. Oh, wait, I just remembered. You know who hired her to be mayor in the first place, right? You know who, right? Who? Say it.
I don't want to say it.
Who hired her? Say it. Snyder hired her.
Fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, like say what you like yeah, I defend Snyder a little bit, but that's one of the decisions where I was like, you shouldn't have done that. Okay, but go on. Enough about me.
Anyways, Aquaman just left me feeling happy, just because like the story felt like it revolves around a hero's journey. It just felt so good around that formula, and of course, it's just the way that James Wan wanted to take it, especially when you get to the trench scene. That is where his horror element shines.
The trench was awesome.
But my gosh, man, the action they put underwater, the way that you can tell and you could actually feel some of the blows, especially during the last fight between Ocean Master and Arthur Murray.
Curry.
Ooh, boy. Just, and of course, yeah, Willem Dafoe is a great mentor in whatever he does, even when he's not playing a bad guy.
You know, I'm something of an Atlantean myself.
So yes, Aquaman is way up there to me. Hell, I'll say it. The Aquaman film is an 8 out of 10. It is an enjoyable film, and I had fun watching it twice. So that is my number 3. Go ahead, man.
All right, number 3. Darn it, I really should have thought the list over a little more. Number 3 have to be Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman, huh?
Because like I said before previously, Wonder Woman, Shazam, and Aquaman are interchangeable because they're just like very, very consistent overall. And if I put it as number 2, then I'd be lying to the audience here. But Wonder Woman. But keep in mind the list will change itself. But Wonder Woman was just a great movie.
It was.
Not like A grade great, but it's great.
The last act did kind of went a little too over the top.
I didn't mind the fight with Ares because, I mean, she left Themyscira to battle Ares, and, well, she got that out of the way. She dealt with the external conflict, and now – but the one problem I did have was here's an example. Remember when Steve Trevor blew himself up or whatever?
Oh, yeah.
And then she went apeshit on those German soldiers? How are they not dead? And then it's like right after Ares is done, the all of a sudden World War I is over. I'm like, I thought the whole idea was that Ares didn't start the war.
And like, what about World War II? What about the Korean War, the Vietnam War,
or the Gulf War, or the Iraq War? And then next thing you know, 100 years
where
later,
is that conflict? It kind of shows. I mean, he's not dead. He's a god after all.
Yeah. Also, too, what was it? The thing that, yeah, that's another thing too about Wonder Woman. It kind of suffers from prequel logic a little bit, where it's
Just a little.
It's like, yes, you have to establish certain parameters, and be creative at the same time. But the creativity element gets a little dumb. Like, for example, killing General Ludendorff. General Ludendorff did not die in 1918. So here's another DC theory for you. Flash didn't create the Flashpoint. Diana did. What else? But the No Man's Land scene was great.
Oh yeah, that was their money shot right there.
What was another good scene? Also just Diana Prince and Steve Trevor have the best on-screen chemistry ever since Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone in The Amazing Spider-Man duology.
I actually agree with you. I actually felt that it was relatable. It was grounded. It felt real.
And also, I just love the lore they gave to the Amazons.
Oh, dude. I should have said this back in the Justice League ranking, that the Amazons were also one of the only good things in Justice League.
Are you just saying that just because you got to see some of them have bare midriffs?
No, I'm just saying that the way they handle the Amazons in that movie.
No,
It was
no,
like
don't.
the fight scenes and like them taking on Steppenwolf in that one scene. That was actually really, really good.
Well, I was gonna say too about the Amazons in Justice League. I didn't mind actually. Okay, remember that controversy they had on Tumblr or social media saying like, "Why are you having them like like skimpy?" It's like
I don't remember that, but
no, they
no.
did back in late 2017 and 2018. Like a lot of the political activists or whatever for feminism were like freaking out, saying like, "This is not how the Amazon should dress up." I'm like, yeah, but okay. First of all, the Amazons are fighters, and it's
Yes.
like very agile fighters too. So less armor, more agility. Two, I'm going to apply some 300 logic here. So it's a crime to have scantily clad women warriors fighting, but it's perfectly okay to have a bunch of men only wearing boxer shorts in battle with exposed torsos.
And you could totally tell that Zack Snyder was kind of hamming up on that a little bit.
I just
Especially like
didn't.
I was like, oh, look at all the Spartan porn.
And number three, the women who were cast as the Amazons loved the outfits. Some of them even took to social media to talk to those political activists to fuck off.
Also, a good way to like tell those political activists to F off. Play the scene from play the scene from the Super Bowl this year. There you go. Literally, that Super Bowl halftime show with Shakira and Jennifer Lopez just gave feminism the big F off.
But back to Wonder Woman. But yeah, I like the Amazons. I like the mythology they were throwing in there, throwing like Greek elements in there. But it was mostly a character story, especially about Diana trying to be her own, trying to be the hero that she feels she needs to be.
Indeed.
And Gal Gadot proves once again that she can handle the Wonder Woman role.
Oh yeah, I think she's perfect as Wonder Woman.
Back in the 2010s, back when like they did hire like fashion icons to play as a female lead or whatever. Well, then again, because most of them were just pimped out to be like just the eye candy or whatever.
Pretty much.
Gal Gadot was not just eye candy. She held her own in the role.
She I swear, it looks like she also like did a lot of the stunts, didn't she?
I heard in some of the behind the scenes shots she was pregnant. That's why some of the action shots were close up on her.
Mm.
It's not her fault.
But anyways, congratulations, Gal.
But yeah, Wonder Woman was great. I give it an 8.
That's fair because going into number 2, my number 2 is Wonder Woman. And you basically hit the nail right on the head, my friend. It's just because it felt hopeful. It wasn't dark and gritty like some of the other DC films were trying to be. This actually had me feeling good throughout the film. I wasn't watching a character who was like, oh, my parents are dead, I'm dark and broody. Like, oh yeah, I'm the last of my kind, I'm emo and shit. Wonder Woman was a great change of pace. And it gave us a little bit more, it just gave it a little more light, both on screen and in character form. But yes, the colors that they actually, it was bright and hopeful, like I mentioned, with Wonder Woman's outfits, especially when we're going to see 84. Like, it actually shows the color scheme.
Except Wonder Woman 1984 got pushed back as many times as X-Men Dark Phoenix, but for different reasons.
Yes. So yes, we're good. We're both gonna go see 84 and give you our opinions when we see that film. Agreed?
Provided it's allowed to come out in theaters and provided theaters are allowed to reopen.
So far, what I've heard, Cinemark and Regal are opening up July 15th.
Fingers crossed, because I also heard that Tenet was supposed to come out around that time. They got pushed back to August.
Yeah. So my view of this COVID thing is it's going to be over by August. there's going to be like some businesses open by August. That's my plan of attack.
Fingers crossed.
But yes, Wonder Woman, as we said, is a fantastic film. Especially like how we told you about it with Birds of Prey, it was actually the female message and empowerment was absurd and ridiculous. This movie works because she's a built character. You actually make her feel for something and not just throw shit out of the way like Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, I forgot to mention one thing about Wonder Woman that did kind of put me off a little bit. It parallels Captain America: The First Avenger.
A little true. But difference though, World War II, World War I.
Though granted this too, I'm kind of getting a little tired of the, like the Nazi of how, Nazis are bad or whatever.
Yeah,
it's kind of too much.
It's a little overused.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll see something different in the in '84 because it's the '80s. It's probably during the Cold War with the U.S. and Soviet Union.
A lot of superhero movies lately have had '80s references.
A little bit, but it's going to be because I still want to know how the hell Steve Trevor survived. I still don't know how the hell it happened.
It's probably a wish.
Maybe.
I have a theory on that, but I'm not going to get into it.
But yes, Wonder Woman, I agree, is an 8 out of 10 movie. And as my number 2, take it away.
Okay. Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice. The Ultimate Edition. Fuck the theatrical cut.
Okay. Ultimate Edition, I'll give you that.
Okay. So where I'm at with Batman vs. Superman: The Ultimate Edition, God, it's a movie that I would definitely rewatch over and over again. I mean, how Zack Snyder portrayed the Wayne murder, the crazy almost comic, the crazy metaphorical visuals of the bats lifting young Bruce out of the cave.
That was still kind of cheesy, but
the how it connects into Man of Steel. The writing by Chris Terrio, pretty spot on. Though fundamentally the script was written by David S. Goyer, who borders onto cliche generic screenwriting territory.
Yeah.
But I did like a lot of the ideas that Chris Terrio presented regarding Superman, Batman, and Lex Luthor. How they're all these archetypal parallels to what we remember from all the mythologies. Lex Luthor is basically the devil. He's the one, embedding himself, throwing lies and deceit everywhere among the people. Superman is basically Apollo, the god of the sun. Batman is basically Hades. And, of course, Wonder Woman is like Athena, the goddess of war.
Although, I mean, like, it doesn't also bring into question that even the Ultimate Edition, that a lot of people still believe that Superman didn't do any of those things. I mean, why? I mean, they know how powerful Superman is. Why would he use a bomb to blow up the Capitol building? Why would he use a gun to kill some terrorists they think he killed?
Oh, funny explanation about that. That's another thing, too. The Ultimate Edition adds some scenes in that explain these plot holes that we got in the theatrical cut. So, Superman using a gun. Well, there was another shot where KGBs took a flamethrower, roasted all the bodies, heat vision.
Mm.
And then Superman using a bomb. Well, here's what debunks the bomb theory. There was another scene added where Superman was seen carrying injured civilians to the paramedics. But he still exiled himself because a lot of more people just hate him now. So, but here's another thing that Chris Terrio really threw in that was really great. I think I talked about this before with you. The internalization of the mentor/father figure when Clark was on the Snow Mountain. Something that even Zack Snyder said in his Vera watch party, it was like internalizing the Fortress of Solitude, not making it like an actual comic book concept. Because
Granted, I
Because,
still wish I would have seen it, but that's another story.
but the idea that he internalized the father figure just to give him guidance in a time of crisis, that's something that happens in a lot of hero stories fundamentally. And that's another thing, too, that people don't really give credit for, like, say, Man of Steel or Batman versus Superman. A lot of these weird metaphorical visual shots we get, it's all based on human experience. That's how we process all these events visually. And that's another thing, too, that makes Batman versus Superman a film, not a movie, is that it uses a lot of cinematic techniques. It lets the scene breathe before it jumps to the plot. And there's a lot of things about this movie that yes, did go wrong, and a lot that did go right. Like, here's an example that did go wrong. Doomsday. Originally, it was supposed to be Metallo as the villain. Hell, but honestly though, I don't want Metallo or Doomsday. What would have been a better idea too is if Lex Luthor killed Superman himself.
Well, at least we could have probably also gotten the Lex power suit.
Yeah. But yeah, Batman vs Superman for me is another 8 out of 10 movie.
For the Ultimate Edition?
Yeah.
How would you rate the theatrical cut? Well, wait. Does that mean, dude?
Yes.
The best
the
DCEU
number one
film?
movie. Yes. Man of Steel. And also in a Vero watch party, it was confirmed by Henry Cavill at that Vero watch party we were going to get the Snyder cut. So Man of Steel.
Who'd have thunk that? Who'd have thunk that one?
I don't know, man.
I mean, yes, I love Batman. Batman is my dude. But my God, guys, come on. How could you not love the atmosphere and the aspect of what Man of Steel brought to the table? It's just the philosophical nature, the theology of Metropolis, and how Superman is basically seen as a god figure, but he's also trying to be a man. But also the General Zod in that movie. Such emotion, such great character development. And just the visuals look great. The music by Hans Zimmer was amazing. And of course, Henry Cavill's performance as Superman plays both the boy in blue that we know and love, a campy reporter from what he should be, but also a little bit of a cocky and a sympathetic kid when he's not Superman. Just everything about Man of Steel hits what the DCEU needs to be. You have these films like Wonder Woman and Aquaman and Shazam. They have that comedic and the light tones, but you still need that grittiness from BVS, Suicide Squad, Justice League, and Birds of Prey. It started that off, but yet DC just didn't really see it, and that's what really bums me out, and why people are so divided on Man of Steel. People are like, oh yeah, it's the worst Superman film ever, and nothing beats the Christopher Reeve version. Like, oh yes, this movie is one of the best Superman films ever. Because yes, people need to realize this. We have our favorite Superman. We have our favorite Batman actors. And yes, I love Christopher Reeves. He was one of my favorite Superman. One of the only good Superman ever. But Henry Cavill brought something else to the table. So yes, Man of Steel to me is a 9 out of 10. I absolutely love that film. You want to add to it?
When I was a kid, I heard of Superman, but I never watched any Superman movies. Hell, for the matter, the idea that a superhero that was a Boy Scout, it did kind of seem boring to me. But then I see Man of Steel, and then I'm just like, I fucking loved it. I mean, Zack Snyder gave me a Superman that I could actually care about. And it's not necessarily a dark superhero movie. It's not necessarily a dark, edgy Superman. It's diving into some fundamental questions about Superman. Superman has always been the iconography of hope in the DC universe. Okay, We've been told that so many times, but Zack Snyder answers why he's the emblem of hope. Because he endeared sheer hopelessness.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing, too, that I'd like to break down to Man of Steel to its fundamental components, it's essentially an identity story.
It really is.
General Zod and all the other Kryptonians that had their predestined roles in Krypton, the general, the warrior, the scientist, they didn't have any qualms about their purpose because that's what they were given. But Clark Kent, being the last natural Kryptonian birth, he could be anybody he wanted to be, which is what the crux of the conflict is for Clark Kent. He doesn't know who he wants to be. That's why you see him drifting around on Earth to and from a job until he finally finds his calling as a superhero for the House of L. And the visuals are amazing, though I do kind of get a little tired of the zoom in, zoom out science fiction camera. They did that all the time for like the J.J. Abrams or the James Cameron science fiction movies.
The J.J. Abrams one is a little more like they do a little more lens flare.
Oh,
James Cameron. He takes 12 years to make a film anyway, so I'm not gonna get into that. But also just we have like two great father figures in that movie. If anyone knows, Russell Crowe, Kevin Costner as
Papa
Kent,
aka they're both Robin Hoods.
Yes, they are.
And also the fact that you have Henry Cavill as Superman. I mean, how can you go wrong with an actor who is basically a super fan of Superman? Fun fact about this. Behind the scenes, they did want Henry Cavill to shave off his chest, but he did reference some of the comic panels where Superman had a lot of chest hair. So they were like, okay, let's keep it.
That's also like why I love him as an actor and as a guy. He sounds like a fun guy to be with, especially when I saw the Netflix series The Witcher, which I highly recommend. If people love The Witcher, he nails Geralt of Rivia because he's a fan of the lore, and that's what makes him so good for Superman because he's a fan of the character.
And if I had to dive into one problem with Man of Steel, like maybe my couple griping problems. One, the ending was rushed. After Superman kills Zod, like we only get a few minutes of an ending. Like, come on, let the ending take time to process it. Secondly,
let's actually see Clark Kent in the Daily Planet a little bit and doing some interviews.
Secondly, David S. Goyer, who hasn't written anything successful since Blade or The Dark Knight, is diving into the same old cliches he uses for Man of Steel. Like, where is so-and-so? Or where's the plot device? Like, come on, man. Show me some originality, Goyer. Oh, yeah. And another thing we have to talk about. This is one of the controversial points of the movie. Did you or did you not like Superman killing General Zod?
I thought it was an emotional point that actually forced him to not be a killer. I thought that was genius because you can even tell in the way they shot it, he didn't want to kill Zod. He didn't want to be the last of his people. He wanted to actually he showed some emotion that he wanted to protect both Krypton and Earth.
Since
Zod, we all knew Zod was never going to stop. No matter what he would either rule over humanity or bury it in the ground. He does not care.
That's another thing too. The fact that he killed General Zod gives him the nickname the last son of Krypton. Honestly, I did not mind the scene at all. It was actually pretty great.
Yeah.
One tiny issue with the scene. How is Zod targeting a random family supposed to get to me? Okay.
I think it's just he wanted to prove a point that he stood for when he was piloting that ship, he stood for all those unborn children of Krypton. He was targeting these people as as a callback to that, as like, you cared about them to destroy the people of Krypton behind me. I'm going to take them from you and see how you like it.
Here's what would have made the scene have deeper emotional impact. If General Zod targeted his heat vision at Lois. He already saw Lois and Clark clearly have a bond on the ship when they met General Zod. Obviously, he knows that Clark and Lois are looking out for each other. So if he targeted Lois, that would have made Clark's desperation to kill him better. But the scene is still great anyways. Like, I'm not really going to argue with it.
Agreed.
And it's because of what I brought up, too, about how it's an identity story. That's what makes General Zod a dark mirror to Superman, is he's not just necessarily part of the origin of Krypton, of the Superman origin, but it's like they're both wrestling with an identity crisis in a way.
It's true.
Like when General Zod is like telling Superman, don't destroy Krypton, like Superman, with the wisdom he gained from Jor-El, pretty much told him Krypton had its chance. Krypton made too many mistakes. That's what led to its planet blowing up.
Mm-hmm.
So it was easier for Superman to let go of Krypton than for General Zod. And when General Zod says, "You took my purpose away from me," that's why he went on a rampage.
So overall, how do you rate the film, dude?
9.
Agreed. So that is why we both believe Man of Steel is by far the best DCEU film. So anyways, guys, that is our list. And of course it's nowhere near as long or how like in depth we were going to with say like the Marvel list, because the Marvel list had more films and we were having trouble trying to figure it out. But this one was like, there are less films. We both seen them. Sometimes we saw them together in the theaters and had a little bit of a reaction reviews after it. But we wanted to do this because it was something that had to be done. It needed to be said what was going on with the DCEU, and hopefully that once this COVID thing is over and they start pumping out movies again, hopefully they learn their ways and just follow the examples of what the fans want. We enjoy like the greatness of DC. That's what people like, but we also like to have at least something hopeful about the film, like Man of Steel, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Shazam. You need those formulas.
But also, given the recent trend of DC movies we've been getting, it's begun a trend where essentially trust the filmmaker to make the movie. Like, but thankfully though, Warner Brothers, like previous board of executives in 2018, led by Kevin Sugihara, they're gone.
Yeah.
The same people that screwed over Snyder. And also, another detail is they also pulled a Weinstein earlier, so that's why they got fired in the first place. That's why their new parent company is AT&T. That's why AT&T approved the Snyder Cut in the first place.
And like I said, guys, we are as soon as the Snyder Cut is available, we're gonna get HBO Max and we're gonna watch it in a live reaction for you guys, because we want to see the Justice League done right, and Snyder will give it to us. I know that for a fact. Because he cares about the product. He cares about the story.
He's basically DC's George Lucas, able to take low-end art that is considered, well, at the time, classic adventure stories into living works of mythological art.
Mm-hmm. Like, I might leave a link down below for the trailer for Snyder Cut's Justice League, and my God, does it look amazing.
The bell's already been rung, and they've heard it. Out in the dark, among the stars. Ding dong, the god is dead. Oh man, like when you see Diana like freaking out about the Dark Side mural, I was like, oh shit.
So yes, guys, keep a close eye on that notifications for when we decide to do that, because yes, it is coming out in 2021, but this whole COVID thing will be over and we can all get together and have a reaction and watch party when we see this film. I really want to see it. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for sticking by with us and listening to us ramble off on why we think all these movies are where they should or where they belong. I don't know. Do you have anything else to add?
Not much other than trust the filmmakers and weed out the pervs.
Yep, being included. So that's our list, guys. I'll be sure to get this out to you as soon as I can. And remember to smash the like button in the face, like the badass as you are. And don't forget to click subscribe and join us here in the shadows. I'm the Dork Reviewer, and I shall see you in the next video. Peace.